Welcome folks to this episode of the Shoney Show, and this is the very first interview show. And the thing that I really wanted to do with this episode and every other interview that I've already got hooked up is not go directly to marketers. Interviewing marketers is completely exhausted, and the thing is, marketers of course are the market leaders of marketing, but some of the coolest ideas and discoveries come from business owners who have to figure out a way to get from A to B. It's something that I adopted. I never started as a marketer. I started as a business owner who had to use digital marketing, try things out, see what worked, triple down on good ideas. And that's how I learned digital marketing and came out with some ideas that people see as completely revolutionary. Now, this is why we're going to have a whole bunch of interviews here with amazing business owners that have done amazing things with social media, digital marketing, Facebook ads, email marketing, things that I've seen and that has really impressed me. And we're going to discover how they actually did it. Now, Dr. Jacob Harden is an incredible physiotherapist. He lives in Florida. He's going to tell you his whole story. But the great thing is here, he went from 0 to 605,000 engaged followers on Instagram. So a lot of people have big followings, but they're not engaged. And you can tell by the likes, you can tell by the comments that are actually there, whether people are actually engaged in this page. He has done this completely authentically through incredible content. So much so, I followed him for the last 3 years. I have no interest in physiotherapy or prehab, but I hook into all of his content. I've watched all of his videos in the last 3 years. I've flicked through every single one of his posts because they're that engaging. Now, if you can think about that when I'm not his target market, and no wonder has he managed to build 2 worldwide businesses completely off of one Instagram account, no Facebook advertising, and completely organic daily posting. This is an incredible episode, folks. Dr. Jacob Harden. Even though I do marketing, digital marketing and coaching, I learned through being a business owner and not a marketing graduate. And so I totally believe that the best marketing ideas and strategies come from people that do trial and error through actually trying to get to a business goal, and not just trained marketers who are following the same scripts as everybody else. And when I look at your content is phenomenal. And I can see that your business is blowing up and it's massive. And speaking to a few different people in Glasgow who follow you and who have been students of yours, and I think are current students of yours, they just rave about you. They're complete raving fans. And I'm right, so this guy is not in the UK, right? And he's doing this and he's creating content and he's got 600 followers. All right. I was like, all right, I need to chat to him about this. And so, so do you want to just go and dive straight in? And, right. So I'm already recording anyway. So the first thing is like I say, I've been following you for a while. I'm not a physiotherapist in any sense of the word. That's not my niche at all, but I follow your entire account, every single post that you do, watch every video, go through the slidey steps as well on your Instagram. I
appreciate
account.
That.
Oh man, it is great. I'm like amazed by the content. It is so engaging, so educational, and so easy to understand. But for anybody that doesn't know you, could you give us a bit of background on you, your business, how it got started?
Sure. So my name is Jacob Harden. I am a doctor of chiropractic over in Florida. So I own and operate Orlando Sports Rehab in Orlando, Florida. And I have a secondary company, which is Prehab 101, which I guess is a little bit more of the brand that I'm known for on social. And that's a continuing education brand for other health and fitness professionals. I travel around and teach on injury rehab. So I grew up out in Texas, and got my biology degree out there. Went to chiropractic school in Florida, opened up practice. I'm currently in my 5th year of practice now, about to enter my 6th. And it's been a little bit of a wild ride, lots of ups and downs, and starting businesses, starting brands, and just like we were just talking about, like trial and error and figuring things out. And you do kind of just figure it out as you go a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm about to go off script straight away because I've actually got some questions here. I just finished my 2-day mentorship with my mentorship clients, and I told them about like how amazing your content was, the growth that you've had, how engaging everything was. And I was like, what questions would you love to see him answer? But like right off the bat there, I'm interested in like how big an impact has social media actually had on your business?
Oh, it's been huge. It's the only marketing I do.
Yeah.
So both of my businesses, my local business, like mom and pop shop, physical location, my clinic, we don't do any marketing for it. Everyone comes to us either from our social channels directly, or someone that follows me refers their friend or family member and says, oh, well, you're in Orlando, you need to go see this guy.
Brilliant.
So yesterday was a great example of that. I had one new patient who follows all my content, and then 2 people who really they're not familiar with any of the content that I post online, but a friend or family member referred them because of, I guess, the rapport that I've built over the last few years with them. So that side of it's been huge. On the continuing education side, the Prehab 101 side, it's the only marketing I've ever done for that, because I have a pretty interesting, I guess, demographic in that I have a large part of the public follows me, but then also other professionals do as well. I kind of recognized that a couple of years ago and saw an opportunity to kind of, have a bigger impact via teaching other professionals kind of what I had to say. And so from a business standpoint, it's just been overwhelmingly positive for me.
Brilliant. And something that I actually noticed on that, so your 2 different businesses there, you've got them in your description on Instagram, but you don't post on those ones. Like you don't post like social content.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
what's
really.
the theory behind that? It's all 100% personal branding, like the content that you put out.
Part of it is it's the mindset. I don't know. I think like part of it's just like my perfectionist mindset of I don't want to just be that guy that just takes content from my personal page and throws it over onto my business pages.
Right.
I feel like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it fully 100% unique style for each individual account. And I just kind of figured out exactly what I want to do with those other 2. So I'm just they're kind of like a holding place for me. It's also just a great way for me to have multiple links in the bio thing.
Yeah.
So I always keep like my seminar schedule up on my main page bio. But then anybody who asks me, oh, are you in Orlando? Where can I schedule? I say, oh, we'll just click the link in bio of Orlando Sports Rehab. And I'll just tag that. And it's a way to send them right there. But for the most part, it's just I haven't figured out what to do with those accounts. I do want to do something with them at some point, just because diversification is good. On the other hand, I really enjoy the fact that it is a person behind my account and has never been a business behind my account. And I think that leads to having a little bit more personal connection with my audience.
Yeah. 100%. And so you would say that like personal branding over business branding is like probably one of the key things here as to why you were able to grow the business so successfully through social media.
Yeah, it's part of it. I think that it's helped me connect with my audience, which therefore has helped my growth. Now, I think that that's not something that should fit for everyone though. because if the goal, let's say that if you are running let's say you're running a multi-team business, then it might not be the best idea to grow your personal brand as much, because like we have a multi-team business at Orlando Sports Rehab, and it's most of the clients that want to come in that come from my social channels want to see me, and it does become a little bit harder to maybe push somebody over to another team member because they really want to see me, versus I would actually rather that demographic not be necessarily be referred to, oh, you have to go see Jacob. No, you want to go see OSR. You want to go see this clinic. You want to go see this business.
Yeah.
It just depends the type of team that you have. Are you a solo practitioner or are you a team-based setting? It can work either way. I just think you have to find a way to make connection between you and your audience, whichever route you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go right into like what could be a pretty broad question here, can you walk us through what the journey was like from going from a brand new Instagram account that you created for yourself to going to 605,000 people following you, super engaged audience, loads of likes, comments, shares on all of your posts? Walk us through what that journey was like.
Let's see. So I started my account right out of Cairo school, which was maybe, let's say, January 2015. Okay. I was on that platform for about a year and a half before I would say it ever really blew up. Like most people, I probably didn't even know what was in the palm of my hands. I posted a little bit here and there back when it was 15-second videos. It was like a 15-second video. Maybe I posted once to twice a week, and it would usually be this like silent video of me just like demoing some exercise that I would use with my clients. And I would say that I was always if you ever scroll like all the way down, you'll see some of these captions. They're very much written for somebody who already had a little bit of background in the medical rehab world. So it's just like, I didn't write them at the level of maybe a lay person who didn't necessarily understand and have the background that I had. And I think that probably hindered a little bit of my growth from there on. Then I think it was June, July 2016, so about a year and a half into it, is whenever my content really started to take off. I had over that first year and a half, I grew from 0 to about 6,000 followers, which for all intents and purposes is wonderful growth for a young account like that. But from like June to July of that 1 month, I went from 6 to 10,000 followers. And so like that was just like that rapid growth. And that really happened whenever I made a big shift. And that big shift was, one, I started writing all my captions to be geared more towards the public, to where they would understand them more. So it was more useful for that clientele, for that audience, which really was my target demographic at the end of the day. I kind of recognized that. I also started talking to the camera, which was something nobody was doing at the time. And I still do that today. I still talk and walk people through a video here and there, because I was one of the first people to be doing that. And so I was pretty early onto the rehab scene on IG. There was maybe 5-6 accounts doing it at that point, and now it's completely saturated. They're everywhere. So I think that I definitely benefited from some like being first into it there. So from the next 6 months, my account grew up to 100,000 followers. I hit that around early 2017. And it was at that point that I really didn't even have to do any more marketing for my clinic. We were able to kind of take all the marketing time that we were spending and put it all into creating social. So that was great. That for the first 3 years there, I posted every single day. I never missed a day. Like posted on Christmas, I posted on my birthday, like everything. And so like I was very, very consistent for those first 3 years. That had a huge part to do with it. And I think the growth was pretty rapid through maybe like the first 300,000, and then definitely started to slow quite a bit from 3 to 6. And algorithm changes and everything else that has been implemented in that time frame. And I just kind of grew with it, and I developed the account as I grew with it. So I started by just simply propping my cell phone up against a water bottle, and like I would just film off that, and that was all it was. And it's like I look back now, I'm like, oh, the audio's so bad, oh, the lighting's so bad, but it was something, right? But like as the marketing budget allowed for it, I upgraded and I got a nicer camera, and then I got a mic to plug into that camera, so my audio was a little better. Then we bought some lights, and we just kind of grew it as we went. And then I'm always kind of looking for ways that I was able to upgrade the content here and there. So I started adding subtitles and captions to all of my talking videos so people could see that. I started labeling all the videos, so it was like a little like encyclopedia library that you could just search through and find what you need. And from there, it's just been consistency and keeping up with it, because the more eyes you have on you, the easier it's going to be to then grow from there. So getting just that initial kind of spurt, and then just staying consistent with it, and being in healthcare especially, being consistent, but also not succumbing to just making stuff up. So keeping the message very clear as to what you stand for and who you are, I think has also been a big part that people can pick up on from me.
Yeah, that's absolutely class. I mean, you're probably seeing me writing like a madman so that I can really like pull this together, all the stuff that you're saying. So I'm seeing like 6 key points there for people that they can take away from your journey of like 0 to 605,000. Number 1, consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Big one. Number 2, making it personal. So yeah, and then that ties into number 3, which is talking to camera. So if you're going to make it a personal brand, then actually letting people hear you speak, hearing that vulnerability, I guess. Number 4, just get started and get going, like you propping up the phone against the water bottle, rather than going, well, I need to wait until I can afford to get a light, and I need to wait until I can afford this and that and the other, which leads into upgrade your equipment as you can, and not as a stumbling block, but as you can increase the quality, and then upgrade the content as you can as well. So if you have more time, more resources, maybe the business gets to a point in which you can maybe outsource to get, like your videos transcribed, for example, those types of things, so that more people who are maybe traveling can actually still absorb your content because there's captions there. Those 6 things together, I think, are absolutely brilliant. And
we could probably throw a 7th one on there, which is analyze trends.
Okay, cool.
How so? Trends happen in every profession. Like your niche is you're probably going to see that certain things are probably doing well with certain accounts. As an example of that, in the healthcare space, we have, my talking videos actually don't do very well from an engagement standpoint anymore. I do them more just because I like them, and to actually, like you were saying, show your face, be there, make that connection with people. But the thing that like really does well is making it more of the gallery style posts, where you can kind of show 3, 4 different maybe exercises that you would apply in a certain scenario. Having more like using text and pictures and stuff like that to make more ease of use of the content for people. And, if you analyze just different fields, you're probably going to see different styles of stuff that does really well. And you can kind of ride on the coattails of that a little bit as you're trying to get started. You don't necessarily, I think there gets to be a point that everybody thinks like, oh, well, I'm not bringing anything necessarily unique to the table here. And you don't necessarily have to bring anything terribly unique from day one. Sometimes the easiest way to get started is to ride on the coattails of what's already working as you kind of figure out your voice as you go.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's an absolutely brilliant one. So one of the points was about talking to camera, and a question that actually came up from one of the mentorship clients, and they said this would be a great one to ask you, because I was showing them some of your videos and stuff before I left the office. They were saying, right, he's excellent on camera. Did he always do that? And it sounds like you pretty much did. Not maybe right from the very first post, but very early you started talking to camera. It's something that a lot of people struggle to get started with. Being able to talk to camera, it's a very nerve-wracking thing. It holds them back from even getting started. What would you say to somebody like that as a way of getting used to being on camera and getting better at it as they go?
You have to simply do it. I mean, I think there really is no other answer other than do it. But take some solace in the fact that your follower count is very low, which, like, we all start with 0, right? So let's say you screw up, let's say you suck, let's say that you're not great at it, because none of us are naturally great at it. I wasn't naturally great at it, but like, no one's watching, right? So when you have 500,000 people following you in 5 years, those 5, 10, 100 people who saw you struggle and fumble with your words and screw it up and all that stuff, like, it doesn't matter. And, on the other side of that, whenever you get to that point, some of those people are still going to be around, and they're actually going to appreciate watching the growth that you've had. Like sometimes in business, we want to seem perfect, right? Like we don't want any smudges on our reputation. But at the end of the day, you're human, we're human, and you want to relate to your audience. And you know what? Every single one of your audience members is probably like, I couldn't talk to the camera like that. I'm not good at that. Yeah. And so as, somebody, you're seeing me 3-4 years into this, go back and watch day one, and you'll see I wasn't as good at it. You'll see that I did take a little bit longer to kind of get my words through. And, I think that if you do that, it humanizes me a little bit more, and you can kind of even relate to me a little bit better. So, you just have to, so just get started, just try it out, realize that you don't necessarily have to post everything that you make. You can make stuff to practice and not post it. Go through the whole process of editing it, go through the whole process of everything except post if you want to, and just practice. And eventually you just get better, but you do have to get past your fear of like, well, what are people going to think of me with this? If you're providing value for people, the overwhelming response is always going to be positive. So just put it aside, because the anxiety that you get from that is the anxiety that you get from your prediction of what will happen is actually probably worse than what the outcome will be.
Yeah. That's class. So something that worked really well for me actually was completely owning it, in the sense that, like, this very podcast, like, if you go back and look at any of the solo episodes, they're all completely unedited, and there's plenty of episodes where in the middle of the podcast I forget my train of thought, and I haven't edited it out. I literally just go,
like some of the times I'm swearing and like and I'm blinded. I'm like, oh man, I've completely forgot my train of thought. But I just own it, and it takes all the pressure off now. And when people submit a form to me to discuss my programs and my mentorships, one of the questions is, because I really want to know if we're going to like connect, because none of my programs or mentorships are like completely scalable. I don't speak to you. It's very personal. So I want to know if we're going to work together well. And one of the questions is, why have you chosen me over other business and marketing coaches? And the majority of the time, it comes back all about the fact that I'm so unpolished. It's actually become like a very big reason as to why people want to work with me. I don't post pictures of Rolexes, of cars, of money, and talk about those things. I just act completely natural and unpolished, and it seems to actually work positively for the business.
People want to feel like you're real. People want to feel like what you do and the results they can get with you are attainable. And if you're just like, I'll post a picture of like a new Lamborghini every week and your Rolexes and it's all just flash. It's like, yeah, cool, but like I'm here trying to pay my bills. Like I'm looking to buy groceries this week and close that one stuff, and so like how can you connect? And again, it's like personal. How can you be personal with people? And sometimes having a little bit more of an unedited style content actually does better.
Yeah.
I even now, like if I can literally go and film something on my cell phone and it'll probably do better sometimes than I set up the camera and got my angle just right and everything. It's like, because the idea that I probably had and was like, oh, I need to film this right now, and it was that important and that urgent to me that I would just pull out my cell phone and do it, probably is like people care much more about that than they do necessarily about the production value. You as a creator probably care a lot more about the production value than the audience does. And we all have this, there is a minimum standard I think that you have to meet. So like for a podcast, you wouldn't want to get like, if we were on different audio streams here and different channels and the timeline got all messed up and like we were both talking over each other, the conversation was completely jumbled, that's not really going to meet the minimum standard. People are going to be upset. They're going to just turn that thing off. I've listened to podcasts where that happened and I was like, ooh, you did not listen back to that.
Yeah.
But I've also listened to podcasts where probably the way I sound a little bit echoey. My sound isn't, it's not perfectly crisp. I'm not talking directly into a stage mic here, but hopefully the content is enough that we have you engaged that, it doesn't necessarily need to be the most perfectly crisp audio because what we're bringing to you is valuable enough for that.
Yeah. Class. And this is a bit off like the storyline of questions here, but just for your thoughts now, what's more important to you if you only had one, your Instagram feed or your Instagram stories?
Feed. My feed. Yeah. I try and be on stories, but I'm just not good at it. It's just one of those things. It's just me personally. Like my wife is the exact opposite. She's stories all day. And I can make an argument for either one. I put up case studies on stories and I get amazing engagement on them. They just take so long to make. I don't do them all that often. So for me, the feed I think is more important. And that's because of what I do in having a more education centric page where I want to kind of create that video library for people that they can go back and reference topics. Stories disappear in 24 hours. So it's not as good for me versus maybe say personal connection. I show my family, I show my dogs, I show my travels, I show my obsession of different coffee shops, like all that goes on my stories. So personal connection, you're going to get a lot more of me there. But from an educational perspective, I think you get a lot more from me on my feed. And I do feel that my businesses probably thrive more from the educational content than they do the personal. So for me, if I had to pick one, it would go over to the feed.
Brilliant. And a lot of people who are listening to this and have checked out your feed will be going, the content is absolutely sensational. They can totally see why it's so engaging. But for anybody that's saying, but I can't do that, what is your process for creating this great content? The videos and also the images, like do you do it all yourself? Do you outsource little parts of it? What's the story there?
I'm a one-man show. Always have been, and I will be for the foreseeable future. So I do everything myself. I said I started very slow, so I understand that I'm coming at this now from a point 3-4 years down the road. But I typically am filming same day. I just block out a portion of my schedule, usually around 5 to 7 o'clock is blocked off for I'm going to film a video, edit it, put it up all today. And I kind of have a 2-hour window that I'm going to post within every day. So I go out, I have my idea. Here's what I'm going to do today. I film it. If it's a talking video, it's usually going to take me a few takes to get it all in that kind of one take that I like to do. Then if it's more of a gallery swipe over kind of video, it's a lot easier for me to do because it's maybe a 15-20 second clip of everything. Then I edit everything right here on my laptop. Final Cut Pro is the video editing software I use. Put it in there. I do very minimal editing to things. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos early on, and all of my knowledge of video editing comes from YouTube. All my graphic knowledge comes from YouTube. I've never bought a course or anything. A lot of it just comes from playing around. And then got that all set up, write out my subtitles right there on the computer, trim them up to be where they should go. Again, YouTube videos teach you how to do this stuff. Export it, send it, airdrop it over to my phone, and then type up my caption, post away, and then I'm basically I'm going to be in my comment section for the next 2-3 hours answering anybody's questions as they start rolling in.
Brilliant. And do you ever batch create? Like create a whole bunch of videos all in one go just to minimize the time, I guess?
I do usually. So I think I was mentioning when we first started, I'm about to travel to Australia tomorrow for about 2 weeks. And so I'm not going to have access to my office or anything. I don't necessarily know exactly when I'm going to be able to film something. I don't necessarily want to have to bust out the camera in the middle of my trip out there to do that. So I batch filmed 6 or 7 videos yesterday. Typically, I don't like to do that. I feel like the content isn't as good when I batch film them. Part of it is, I think it's Parkinson's law, is, you will always wait till the last minute to get your work done all the time. So if you give yourself a week to get something done, you're going to take a whole week to complete it. If you give yourself 20 minutes to get it done, you'll find a way to complete it in 20 minutes. I'm that way too with my social media. So I always have if I give myself a week to get 3 videos done, I will take that whole week and if I busted out 6 videos yesterday versus if I'm posting just every single day, I can just go out there and do it. But when I do batch film, sometimes I just feel like by the time I'm filming that 4th, 5th, 6th video, I'm not as engaged with it. I'm not as lively with it. So I try not to batch film that much unless I absolutely have to, because I feel like I'm fresher and I bring a higher quality whenever I'm doing them individually.
Great. And a lot of people say they're scared to give too much away for free. Now on your page, you seem to give away everything for free. Like you give so much content with so much variety. How have you seen that affect your sales positively, negatively?
Well, I don't know that I can ever tell you if it's going to affect me negatively, because I don't think, like, how do you know if you didn't see a sale, right?
Yeah.
So that's a tough one to say. Positively, it's been very positive. Businesses have done well. I totally understand the sentiment of, keep a little bit back there, and it's, I don't know that we are necessarily, as creators, trying to hold anything away and hold any secrets. I'm certainly not trying to keep any secrets from you as far as why you would come see me. So yeah, I think you just with that, I think you just have to have a very strong sense of why your client comes to you in the first place. So on the clinical side, if the client comes to me with an injury, they're not really coming just for, like, oh, well, show me 3 exercises.
Yeah.
That was all it was about. You could probably scroll my Instagram. It's probably because you have some sort of worry. There's some sort of like pain point in your life that you're trying to, get past. And you don't necessarily know how to take everything that I've posted there and put it into a cohesive, actionable plan, right? So we can give you, like, the thing about, like, all social media really is that you're only ever going to see a piece. That's why, you go buy a certain course, a lot of times it is literally someone's content just put together into this big actionable, piece that you then pay for, and they've curated it for you. A lot of stuff is just taking all this, saving you 100 Google searches and putting it into one spot. That's what a lot of people's social media feeds are. And then from a course, they just take their social media feeds and they put it into an even tighter knit, well-guided plan. That's what their ebooks are. And so when someone comes to see me, I've given away, I literally show every exercise that I use with my clients. I don't like pull something different out of the bag when I'm with them, but it's the reasoning as to why I would pick one over another is why people would come to me. It's how do I prescribe that is why they would come to me. It's my ability to explain things to them and provide the context behind that. And I think that's really where your expertise lies in healthcare. So for you as the listener, whatever your business is, like, what is the context that you're going to provide to your client behind the actionable steps? That's really why someone's hiring you, not necessarily just for the skill.
Yeah, spot on. And would you say that, like, every time you post, there's like a sale at the end of it? And no.
No. Not. I don't see a ton of sales at all, unless I'm making a post that directly advertises something that I'm doing, whether that be on stories or on my main feed. Otherwise, it's just kind of like stuff trickles in. The clinic is a little bit different. I never really advertise the clinic. It just sits at the top of my bio, so people know I'm there. So I'm top of mind. And then I see appointments kind of come on. That's pretty consistent. But with, say, like the seminars, I will advertise that, oh, I'm going to Sydney next week. And while that post is not going to do well from a likes and engagement and a comment standpoint as compared to one of my more educational posts that's geared towards the masses, right? It's a funnel, right? Like if you just look at your social media as a funnel, I have my big 600,000 number. Now I'm just going to hyper target down to my people that are in Sydney by making a single post that says Sydney. And so I just funneled that audience down, whoever is then interested enough to then say, oh, cool, go click the link and take a look at that. They're just now a little bit deeper into that sales process. They can then scroll through and then we can kind of make a sale. So I see a lot more sales when I make posts that directly advertise something, even though they're not necessarily very engaging. But they're not supposed to be. But all the educational posts, all the stuff that I give away is what feeds those sales on the back end. That's the value. Somebody has to value you enough in order to want to actually look at whatever that advertisement is that you do, so they care enough about whatever it is you have to offer.
Yeah. Class. Right. So if somebody wanted to create a large audience full of super fans, so a thing that I say all the time to people when they go, how do I get more followers? How do I get more followers? And I always say, it's not about the followers. It's about having the right people listening.
Right.
But obviously the great upside is if you have a large following and they are the right people listening. And that's
Right.
very much what I see on your feed by the level of engagement you get from every single organic post that you put out there. So if somebody wanted to get started with a brand new account, what would you say their 3-month game plan is to get started in the best way possible?
So have you heard, I hope our listeners have heard the concept of going wide versus going deep. So going wide is trying to appeal to a very broad audience. Going deep is trying to bring a lot of value to a very narrow audience, knowing who your ideal target is. I think if you're really starting out, I would say go wide first. Cast a large net and just pull people in, and then intermittently sprinkle in some very deep content to bring value. So let's say that we bring in 100 followers, and then you're going to try and convert 3 of those into a super fan for you. And then you cast out another wide net, and you try and bring in another 100, and then you bring a lot more value content, and you try and convert 3 more of those to a super fan. As that number starts to grow, and let's say that you're up to 1,000, 10,000 followers, you can kind of flip the script a little bit and start trying to go deep a whole lot more and try and bring a lot more value to those people and create more super fans out of who you already have, and then intermittently get more broad-based. Other things to do there is just be ultra authentic. Be you. I have what we call a creator account on IG. So I see not only how many people follow me every week, but how many people unfollow me as well. And I have 2,000 people unfollow me every week. And from a personal standpoint, it's like, oh, that kind of hurts. But from a business standpoint, maybe that I wasn't bringing enough value to that person, that they didn't feel that they needed me. And maybe they probably weren't a super fan of me, and they probably weren't going to buy anything that I was putting out there anyway. So it probably doesn't hurt me that much when people unfollow, because I know that I do have those people that are just like big fans of whatever I do, and they're going to like every post, and they're just going to say thank you for everything, and all that stuff. And I know I've really connected with them over time, but you have to, I would say, cast wide first, go deep, and then flip the script as your number gets a little bigger.
Brilliant. And do you do anything other than Instagram organic as a marketing focus, or is it like 95 to 100% all based on your Instagram strategy?
So everything right now is purely organic. Everything I've ever done has always been organic, but most of it is just my Instagram here. I have a YouTube account as well, and it's just a time management thing of getting all that content kind of posted up there. When again, I try and do different content across different platforms, so I'm not just a cross-platform poster kind of thing. So I'll do like more long-form case studies with my clients over on my YouTube channel, and try and grow that audience a little bit. And if you build up your mailing list or something like that, then you have that over there. As of right now, just because of travel schedule, work schedule, family schedule, everything, it's just the Instagram account for me. And I think that's a big testament to, like, if you can at least hyper focus in on one area that you can do consistently, then you can see some success with it.
That's absolutely amazing. Right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jacob. And where can people find out more about you? I need everybody to go and check out your channel, first of all, to learn from the content and so they can see if there is parts of that they can draw into their own social media strategy and apply all this value that you've given today. So where can they find out more about you?
So my Instagram page is the number one spot to find me. That's at dr.jacob.harden. I'm always in my DMs there. You're welcome to shoot me a message if you have any questions about anything we said. I'm happy to have a conversation. The feed, always welcome to comment anything you want to see there. And then if you're in the Orlando area, Orlando Sports Rehab is my clinic. And Prehab101seminars.com is my website for my teaching company.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for your time, man. I've been really excited about doing this podcast and learning from you and your Instagram strategy and insane growth, amazing content, and you've delivered massively for all the listeners here. So thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you.
What an incredible episode of The Shoney Show with Dr. Jacob Harden of Prehab 101. Incredible to have him on the show talking about that journey. Those 6 or 7 steps, because he added the last one on, are just such incredible strategies for somebody who is patient to grow an organic, engaged audience. Something that every single person who is a business owner would love to have. So those strategies, take it from somebody who isn't just a trained marketer but has really just gone and authentically done it. Go and master what he has done. That is an incredible episode, tons and tons of value. And if you want to engage with me, then you can do it in a whole bunch of ways. If you want just free access to training, you can head to my website. You can get my free video series, you can get my free Facebook ad training, you can read the blogs with loads of strategies in there, you can watch more episodes of The Shoney Show right there. And if you want to work with me in a much closer capacity, as you know, there's the 16-week digital marketing program, which right now has 52 weeks access. That's 3 times the amount of access for exactly the same price. Or you can join my 12-month mentorship program if you qualify. To see if you qualify for either, you can book a call via the link in my bio in Instagram, and that's at Neil Shoney Mac. The alternative is you can book a call through my website on both the homepage and on the sales page for the 16-week digital marketing program. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe, rate, review all over the place. And if you are die hard and you put in the effort, that'll take about 30 seconds. If you subscribe on YouTube, if you follow and subscribe on iTunes, and you write a review on both or post a comment on both, then I'll give you a free 15-minute strategy session. All you have to do is do those 4 things between those 2 channels, screenshot both, send me an Instagram DM with them, and we'll jump on a 15-minute call and come up with a strategy for you to get more leads and sales into your business. This has been The Shoney Show with Dr. Jacob Harden. I will see you on the next episode.